I'm going to put this up there. Cheryl just wrote this. Cheryl said she's not sure if Rod's lucky to be surrounded by us, and he's right in the middle, or if he should be scared. We haven't determined it yet.
Tell us your feelings at the moment, Rod. How do you feel?
A little both, all right?
Smart.
I'm going to tread very lightly. I'm right in the middle here. I'm like reach both ends here, so I'm just going to mind my business.
I'm on here with all guys like all the time. That happens a lot. If you guys don't notice, it's me full of guys. We when we had Joe, Dan, and Mike on too, it was like this with me with the 4 guys too. When they came on. So happy Tuesday, everybody! Thank you guys for being here. In case you don't know, I'm Kat the Nurse Slipper, joined by Rod in the middle, my co-host, and then these 3 ladies are all from Consignment Chats. I am going to make them big individually and let you know what they have going on individually as well. But they are all found at Consignment Chats. So we have their link down in the description. And then we also have got Marcia dropping it in the chat for us. So I'm going to make Miss Samantha big first, and she can tell you a little bit about herself. Here she is.
Hello, I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I've done consignment for about 12 or 13 years. I did it part-time for the first decade and worked in healthcare. And then during the pandemic, I went full-time. And I've been a part of Consignment Chats for just over a year.
Perfect. Here's Molly.
Hey, y'all. So I am Molly, and I now live in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have been in the consignment business for about 12 years. Libby may tell you a little more about that because she's the one that pulled me into this. I did grow up with a family that was very much into the environment, and also an aunt who started a thrift business. So I was in the game from the get-go with loving everything about it, but Libby brought me into the business side of it. And I've been a co-host and founder of Consignment Chats for the past little over 2 years now. And my favorite thing, I love reselling. I resell everything, but my favorite thing that I do as far as Consignment Chats goes is the branding and teaching people to brand their business and help them with logos and all that fun stuff.
Perfect. Here's Libby.
Hey, everybody. I'm Libby. I am here outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. My business is Conchi Consignment, and I started it. It's been almost 13 years now. I can't believe it. So I've been reselling much longer than that, but I've been full-time for the 13 years, supporting my family. And I obviously do consignment, other things as well. We do all sorts of reselling. And Molly and I founded Consignment Chats because there was kind of a need in the reseller community. There was a lot of misinformation out there. And we felt that, consignment sellers really needed a place to chat. And we needed a place to give people information on how to do it the right way and not leave money on the table. So here I am.
Perfect. All right. So we've got some questions in the chat. Wendy, coming in first, wants to know, what is everyone doing to track their mileage? And is anyone old school on paper, or does she need to get an app on her phone?
So I do it old school. However, I'm only like a half a mile from the post office and a mile from Goodwill. And those are like the only places I go. So I would use, and I used to use Mile IQ when I used to travel farther. That was the app I used, but now I just track it in my spreadsheet.
So honestly, for me, y'all, I'm really bad, and I don't track mileage, and I don't claim mileage. I know. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm saying this live. Yeah, I don't. I'm like the world's worst with this stuff. Yeah, no, I'm bad.
So I do the reverse of that. Probably I travel a lot for sourcing, consignment pickups, all of that, a ton. It is very rare I am not traveling with a business intent or not doing some kind of business along the way. So I only track when I don't use my vehicle for business. And then I deduct the mileage that way. So I do it old school. I did use Mile IQ, but now I just do it old school, and I just track the time I don't spend on business. That's the only amount I track, and then just do the deduction that way. Yeah.
So, as we always say, is one thing you always want to do is talk to your accountant on what you can and cannot write off, especially when it comes to mileage and other expenses for your vehicle. But I use Mile IQ. That's the best way to track it. Best way. I travel a lot. I do a lot of highway sales across country, and I do travel a lot for sourcing.
So we actually switched. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I guess that's one of the perks of consignment is we don't travel that much. The stuff comes to us.
Yeah, that's true. So I quit tracking when we turned into an S Corp 2 years ago, because we actually are now doing like the vehicle gas and maintenance, and you can only do one or the other. So we don't track mileage anymore either. When we bought the truck just for the business, it's just more advantageous because truck tires and truck gas is very expensive. So we just do that. I did use Mile IQ when I was tracking mileage, but now we've opted to go with the gas and expenses. And again, you cannot do both. And we are opting to do the gas and repairs now that we have the truck.
See, that goes back to what I just said. That's why it's so important to get with your accountant, see what's best for your business, because what we're all saying on here is best for our business, but they might not be best for what you guys are doing.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Except Molly. Hers is best for nobody. Like, why are you?
I am
do nothing.
not one to
Do not take her advice.
I will not educate you in a Patreon group on that. Just ignore me on that one.
She has a big dartboard with a bunch of miles on it and just throws a dart at it at the end of the year. Wherever it lands on, that's
Meeny, miny, mo.
I love it.
Michael Lynn, join the membership. So if you guys don't know, and I just put out the June schedule yesterday or the day before. It's on the community channel for those, or community tab for those of you that are members. So we do live sourcing twice a month. We do live shipping twice a month. And then we do store reviews once a month, which is the second Thursday. So if you're wanting store reviews, I get a lot of emails about that. The $1.99 membership gets you into the store reviews, whether you want to have one done or you just want to watch other people so you get some tips. So the beginning of the month is always the best time to join because you're getting kind of everything. And yeah, so I'm going to give Michael Lynn the turtle, and Michael Lynn buys a lot for me on Whatnot as well as knickknacks. So I want to say thank you for that too. And I'm going to give you the turtle, which is one of my favorites. Here you go. Oh, she has tortoises. Listen, I thought about it, but the responsibility of actually caring properly for a tortoise is a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I do not need more. Like, Brad's already ready to kill me with 6 guinea pigs, and like, they're very demanding little creatures, so they squeal all the time. The other night he went to the room because he couldn't deal with the guinea pigs. So I am not gonna push it and get a tortoise because I'd have to make him make a separate fence, and yeah, it would just be a hot mess. But I love them. I've thought about it. All right, let's see. Jason wants to know if anybody has any ideas on how to use a Facebook group to drive sales.
Samantha. Jason
is one of our very favorite Patreon members, and we just released an episode today about Facebook. I have a ton of Facebook groups that I run, several, and I have a Facebook auction group. So we talk at length about that on our podcast about Facebook auction groups.
Yeah.
Now, as far as us, Libby, I'll let you talk on business. Obviously, for us, for Consignment Chats, we hope to support each other's business by allowing people to share their business in certain posts that hopefully will encourage others in our community to shop at each other, because I always go to resellers first on any needs I have before I go anywhere else.
Yeah. So Facebook group to drive sales. I don't so much use Facebook group, but I love Facebook Marketplace to drive people to my business page. So I put up my big items and, you know, a lot of local pickups on Facebook Marketplace. But then when somebody purchases from me or is interested in the type of items I have, I go ahead, I send them a message like, hey, this is what we do. Here's my business page. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you're interested in any specific items and use it to drive traffic that way. So, yeah.
So Facebook groups are really powerful, especially the ones that are really niched down into certain categories. Like for example, if you look behind me, I have a massive NES collection right behind me. I can literally take a picture of that right now, go in to a Nintendo or a video game Facebook group, post that picture up, and you'll see how many people will reach out to me and try to offer me money for to buy those games, see if they're for sale, because you have collectors, you have resellers that are out there. So what I recommend doing a lot of those things is post pictures up of what you have. Say, you know, if you're looking to sell stuff, I always like to post a big lot. Not people get annoyed if you post like multiple pictures in those Facebook groups, so don't go in there pissing people off right off the beginning. What you want to do is put everything in a giant lot, take one photo of your picture, post it up there, and be as clear as possible in your description that you're looking to sell. Make sure you put a price in there, because a lot of those groups do have rules and regulations, and they will kick you out or they will not allow you to post in there. So make sure you read those first. For example, like the video game one, you have to post, if you post something for sale, you have to have a sale price on it. You can't post it up just to make me an offer. They don't allow stuff like that. So, but I sold a ton of stuff in Facebook groups, and you just got to find the collector ones. There's ones for VHS. There's ones for toys. There's one for everything. Glass. You can go on there. You can find whatever you're looking for.
Yeah. So I will tell you, if you post something for sale in my Facebook group, we will kick you out. So we have death pile destruction, and we're trying to help people lessen their death piles, and people offering them stuff to buy is very contradictive. So yeah, so we do not allow it, and we do get it. We typically will just remove it the first time, but if we see it repeatedly, we have kicked people out. So Marsha's the one that does it. Look at her. She's like whack happy. Marsha's the main mod on my Facebook group. And we don't allow any selling on there because we're trying to help people lessen death piles, because it's such a big problem in the reseller community. Not all people's death pile is a problem, but when you have like 2 and 3 rooms that are stacked with stuff that's not listed, that's when it's a problem. Yeah. So yeah, I am banned from Facebook Marketplace, and I have been for over 2 years. So if I post anything and tag it as for sale, it doesn't allow it through. But if I got a big collection of something that I wanted to move fast, I think I would go in the group, because you can put like a group, like Rod was saying in Nintendo. I could go in there and yes, Val, are you guilty of that? Val says, or a 10 by 20 storage. She's talking like she might know about that. Then it might be a problem. But yeah, I think going into those groups, if you have big lots of one thing, is a good way to find collectors of like one item. And I think that would definitely help. And there are a lot of groups, like the ladies were saying, that will let you share it. Just make sure you follow the rules. Don't get kicked out. Because you are posting something somewhere that they don't want you to post it. Don't assume everybody will allow you to post it.
Yeah.
Also too, when you guys go in those Facebook groups, a lot of times people are going to want things for discount because you're not selling on eBay, selling on all these other platforms, which you can provide stuff at a discount to these buyers. But I highly recommend that you use goods and service through PayPal. When you go to pay, people feel a lot more comfortable with that. Don't try to avoid it's a $3, 3% fee. That's all you really have to pay compared to 10, 15, 20% of other selling platforms. But if you start getting in the realm of like taking Venmo, Cash App, or doing that stuff, that's how people get scammed all the time. So make sure you guys do protect yourself. And as a buyer, I prefer to go through goods and services because I'm protected through PayPal if there's an issue me receiving my item. So it protects the buyer and protects the seller, because you can get seller protection through there.
Yeah, for sure. And on my video that will probably come out tomorrow, my What Sold, I basically said the same thing about Mercari, because now that Mercari doesn't have seller fees, you can wheel and deal on there more, because if you're paying 10 to 20% on eBay and Poshmark, you're saving that on Mercari and the buyer's paying it. So I will accept much lower offers on Mercari than I will anywhere else. So just remember that when it comes to Mercari and offers, that you're not paying those fees anymore. Laura wants to know, can you explain what an eBay envelope for mailing is? It an envelope you can only get from eBay, or is it an envelope that has required measurements and weight?
So it is not specific, like branded, or you get it from eBay, but it is the second part that you said, where it is a type of postage they provide for a certain measurement and weight, and they have all the specifications on their website. I don't remember which part of the policies they have that in.
So I'm going to pass this on to Libby, because I know she just recently started using this, and I have not gotten into it yet.
Yeah, so I had two of our mastermind participants kind of walk me through it, because I have some patches and I had some stickers that qualify for the eBay standard envelope, and it's super easy. It's just basically a standard envelope, any white envelope. But what they recommended, and I think this is great advice, to get the penny sleeves that you would put like a baseball card or something like that in, put the patch inside of that, and attach it to an index card, and then put it in the envelope. It needs to weigh under an ounce for the lowest 64-cent rate. And you print out most of us use thermal labels. You just print out your regular label and you stick it on there, and it's just formatted in a different way. And it was super easy. I had myself all worked up that it was going to be complicated, a whole other process. It fit right in. It was cool.
So for shipping purposes, eBay pretty much uses the term eBay standard shipping envelope. So it makes it easy so everyone knows, and they use that on their website is the term they use, but you don't have, like they said, you don't have to actually use their actual envelope for that. It's just what they call it when you hit the drop down menu for shipping purposes. It started out just for sports cards on eBay, and then it expanded to like patches, it expanded to postcards, it expanded to stickers. There's a couple other things that you can do with it as well. The biggest thing is it has to go through machine. So just like up to like the thickness of like a greeting card, like if you get like your grandmother sends you a card in the mail for your birthday, like that thickness is pretty much what it is. When it comes to like sports cards, you can put like, like two, I think it's like three of these is what it is. So pretty much like that thickness, because it has to be able to scan through the actual scanner when it goes through. So if it's too thick, it won't be able to go through. So that's what it is. But a lot of times people in like the sports card industry, they'll just use a regular envelope, and they'll get a little piece of cardboard and put the card in there between two little pieces of cardboard. You can actually go online too and buy cardboard that actually folds over. It's like paper thin. So they have those. That's what they use for like stickers. Remember like the vending machines where you get the stickers out as a kid?
50 cent.
Yeah, and they pull it out and then it has a little piece of cardboard. But you can order those on Amazon. You can order those off eBay, and you can use that if you're shipping stickers or other things, and then use it in that envelope. So.
I love that you just had props too. Like that's amazing.
I sell sports cards and I sell all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean that was really on cue. Yeah, I love it.
Jesus wants to know, does it come with tracking? The answer is yes, and that's why everybody likes it, because it's super cheap and it comes with tracking. So your postcards, your greeting cards, I saw somebody say in there. Not Funny says they've pushed it and got 12 sports cards in one of them. So you do get tracking with it. That is the nice thing about that. Miss Gina wants to know if anyone uses auto offer apps.
I do not. Like for Poshmark? Is that what you mean?
I would assume for Posh, yeah.
So I used to use Flip when it was free, and I'm cheap, and I didn't. I didn't keep going with that when they started charging, but I do use List Perfectly, and they now have offers. They just started doing that, so I use List Perfectly at the moment. Or not offers, sorry, they have shares. They're working on offers.
So, Kat, can I jump in real quick just to do a quick explanation about our business relationships? Because that could be confusing. When it comes to me, I keep kind of pushing things on Libby, and I want to do a quick explanation for your
go ahead.
viewers.
Yeah.
So the three of us together are Consignment Chats, and then Samantha owns her own reselling business. And Libby owns Conchi Consignment, and I work with her. So you'll see me tonight push a lot of the kind of business answers to her because it's her business and I sell with her and that kind of thing. So I just want to explain that we're under one business that Libby owns and Samantha's under the other. Just so people know.
And you help her do that. So Libby's answering more of that stuff. That makes sense.
So that's why I shove some of that up to Libby, just so people understand.
She's not just passing the buck. No,
she doesn't track her miles or anything else, apparently.
Now that I should do. I don't know why I don't.
That you should do, yeah. I'm not doing that for you. I'm not.
Yeah.
So auto offers apps, I use Flip. I decided to pay the $9 a month because it was worth it for me because I used the free one. So far it's been good. It pays off. I'm waiting for List Perfectly to go ahead and release the offer portion of it, and then I will move from Flip over to List Perfectly and use their sharing function since I'm already a subscriber. Yeah. And it works.
Yeah, I don't use any. So.
Okay.
So I use One Shop. I also will switch over to List Perfectly once they get the offers app. And I'm actually thinking of stopping my One Shop because List Perfectly does have the sharing function now. I have not yet. And I've talked about in a couple of videos, I'm actually thinking of taking down all 7,000 listings off Mercari and Posh because we have some double listings that didn't get linked and List Perfectly cataloged. So we get some double sales. But that's part of our income. And I don't know how long it will take my mom to get all 7,000 back onto the platforms. But yeah, so I use One Shop. I like it. I think the auto offers definitely, it probably makes over 50% of my sales, to be honest. But if we can get where LP's auto ending feature is working for us, my sending offer person until LP gets it is going to be my husband. So instead of ending listings, which he does right now, I think I'll have him send offers out on Poshmark, which I'm sure he'll love. But yeah, so right now I use One Shop for my sharing and my auto offers just because I've had it on that before LP came out with it. Rocks to be me sent a $4.99 super chat and said, what % do you use for split consignment sales and do you advertise that you do them?
Yeah, so I recently gave myself a 10% raise. I was doing 50-50 split and now I earn 60% and the consignor gets 40%. So yeah, that's the split I do. And then do I advertise? Yes. I mean, I'm a consignment business. The tagline for my business is consignment made easy. So I definitely, and my terms are all on my website. So anytime someone reaches out to me, I give them my website and everything's listed on there.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Molly, you want me to just field this one?
Just go right ahead.
All right. So we do much like Samantha, where I earn 60% and the consignor gets 40%. A lot of people start with a lower percentage. We don't recommend that. We have a free sample terms on our website, consignmentchats.com. If you want to look at the terms of consignment and how you set them, we also have a lot of episodes on that. Make sure consignment is a very sought after service. There are more people that want to consign than there are consignment sellers out there. So come on, join us. It's great. The water is really nice. But so, your service is very valuable to a lot of people. So you really just want to pay yourself. And yes, Molly.
I want to throw in there too, for when you're saying, come join us. I very much do a split style business in what I do. I do consignment and have some local consigners with accounts through the business, but I am a shopaholic. So I love to source items too. So I'm probably, unlike Libby and Samantha, I'm 80% probably on sourcing and reselling and about 20% consignment. And the beautiful thing about that setup for me is that if times get tough, I can lean more on consignment and put less cash out. Right? Because I've already got clients and I can just put a shout out to, hey, I'm accepting more and take a few more consigners. If not, then, I know that's a little off subject, but just to put that in there, since you mentioned that I do both and do more sourcing selling than I do because I
Yeah.
have an addiction problem.
So the second part of that question, and do you advertise that you do them? So I don't necessarily put my terms out unless somebody asks them, but I'm very upfront about advertising exactly what they will get, because when you tell somebody, you know, you can see their reaction if they value what you're going to do. Like if I say, I won't make you guys role play, even though that's my favorite thing. All right. you're going to get 40% of all items sold over the course of 40 days. If somebody says to me, you get 60%, you take 60%, I know automatically that is not my ideal customer. That is not going to be my client. When somebody is like, values it, the response is much different. So I do put it right out there, make it very clear, and their response tells me whether or not I want to do business with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say I've tried consignment in the past, and I was not a fan of it. Okay, part of the reason for that is I was the wrong items and lower price points on that stuff. For the longest time, I was 100% against consignments until I heard these ladies talk. Until I talked to Dana Crawford at This Perfectly, and I will say they changed my mindset on consignment. Now, consignment's not a big part of my business, something that I don't advertise, I don't want to do. If I do consignment, it's going to be high dollar items only. It's going to be a 50-50 split. But I mean, we're talking about a couple $100s and above. That's what I would start with, because I have my own. I do a lot of sourcing. I put out multiple videos. My time is very limited for my YouTube channels, for my reselling business, for my family. So if I am going to consign items now, it will be higher dollar items that will have a faster sell-through rate compared to, you know, just taking anything. And I'm sure they're going to talk more about this later on. I mean, this is you guys' great opportunity for everyone in the chat to ask questions about consignment, what you guys want to learn, you know, their business models, kind of, you know, what they do consign, what they don't, you know, what they recommend doing, you know, and now's your time, because this could open up. This is for you guys that are complaining about not having places to source in the summer. I mean, in the wintertime, this is a great opportunity for you guys to learn tonight. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But
yeah, and I am higher than Rod. I want $500 or higher if I'm going to consign. And that's with my social media presence. People email me all the time. And I do not have the time, especially to look through and determine what is higher or not, but I will offer to buy. Like if they send me photographs, that's something I'm interested in, I will offer to buy it outright. But as far as pieces and me putting in the work, paying my employees to list, I want $500 or higher. So like higher dollar brooches, higher dollar teacups, basically the stuff in my research videos. If people have that, I will consign it. Other than that, I can find tons of like mid-range items myself without having to split the profits with somebody. So that is what I choose to do. But if you email me and have a $3,000 brooch and you don't want to sell it, I will be more than happy to list that. Just because it's worth my time. Just like Rod said, I also have 2 YouTube channels. I am editing. I have a 5-year-old and my time is super limited. And to me, my time is really, really valuable. So it just is not worth it for me to do anything under that. All right. What am I going to, I haven't done the pillow fight in a while. So poor Dalton, I was telling the ladies before, Dalton is very, very sick. Unfortunately, today and tomorrow were his last days of school, and he was up at 1 o'clock in the morning sick. So he didn't get to go today, and I don't know that he'll get to go for the last day. So hopefully my little buddy is better. He's passed out on the couch in the house. So hopefully he's feeling better soon. And I'm going to give you his pillow fight. Here you go.
So I got a general question for you guys on the chat here. Did you guys start out just selling consignment right in the very beginning, or were you guys starting out selling your own items and then you guys built your business to the consignment, or you felt that was a better approach for you guys to go?
So I was actually a personal organizer. I worked full-time at a hospital and had a large career there. And then I would organize for people on the side, and they wanted to throw everything out or send it all to Goodwill. And as I was going through stuff, I'm like, I could put this on Facebook right now and somebody would come give us $100 for it, like very quickly, like within half an hour. And they're, oh no, that's fine. Just get rid of it. And so that evolved into me selling things for people and splitting the profit. And then eventually I was like, oh, this is way better than organizing people's closets and pantries. And I just did consignment.
Yeah.
And I also live in the frozen north where we only have garage sales from Memorial Day to Labor Day, kinda. And we have one Goodwill within 120 miles, I believe.
Yeah.
So I don't have an opportunity to go and source otherwise. So this is the way that I get the majority of my items.
So I started right in on consignment. And Libby and I's story of how we met was at our children's elementary school. And we were changing the face of their fundraising at that school from the catalogs of cheap things from China to making it more community-based, sustainable fundraising. And so we put together a consignment sale. And from that grew Libby opening her business and calling me and saying, hey, you want to come be my internet sales manager? So consignment was where I started from the get-go. But we do, especially in our coaching and helping people, always recommend, if you're going to start consignment, start with your stuff first so that you can learn how you're going to run through the process and go through all that.
So I sold my stuff for many, many years. When eBay people were mailing you money actually in the mail. Yeah. So I started then. My family, my mom and I always loved to go to auctions and, pick up antiques. And so I love to sell. But then, like Molly said, we started consignment and I got into that. When I opened the brick and mortar, we had it was a mix of consignment and artisans. So we had like vendors that had handmade products and things like that. So it was a mix from the beginning, but mostly consignment. And I just fell in love with the community aspect of it, because when you think consignment, you're involving the community, right? You're helping community members. You're giving people like a way up, a way out, a way to make a little bit more money on the side. And guess what? You got built-in customers when you have consigners. You have a built-in customer base when you have people coming in to consign with you. So not only are you helping your community and you're helping people, but you also have built-in customers. So it just made sense in our small community to do that. And I just loved it.
All right, Jason's hitting it again. Why does everyone need to be consignment ready?
So the biggest thing is we coach people on how to do consignment. We help you with your terms and all that stuff. But we don't think everybody should do consignment. Like it's not the right fit for everybody and not everybody likes to do it. However, if you are consignment ready, you know your terms, Kat, that you are only going to accept things if it's $3,000 or more, or rods, $500 or more, whatever it is. So you at least know what your terms are should that magical thing actually appear to you. So we think that everybody should be consignment ready for those things, so you can help sort through things, and so that you can take advantage of those opportunities if they come up. It's a really good bargaining tool as well.
Yes. Our biggest thing is we don't want to see you leaving money on the table, right? Like if you just have something come in, but maybe you don't have the revenue to actually purchase that from somebody, but you could make some good money off of it, but it's a large collection and maybe it's that money's not in the bank, but you've got your terms set aside and you can say, wait a minute, right now this might be a better fit for us, and pull your agreement out and sit down with them and talk about it. And it gives the option for you to get your hands on that inventory that you want, but maybe you can't afford to purchase outright at that time.
Yeah. And I would say you need to be consignment ready so that I don't get a panicked phone call on a Friday evening with somebody saying, oh my gosh, I have this amazing opportunity and I don't have $50,000 capital to take advantage of it. What do I do? What are my terms? Oh my gosh. Like, well, maybe you should have that agreement in your toolbox for when these situations arise. So basically it's self-serving, so I don't get those panicked calls or texts on a on a random weekend.
And
I think
I'm going to back up real quick.
Jason. All right.
It really is easy, y'all. If it seems overwhelming, like we mentioned before, on consignmentchats.com, we have a downloadable there that you can download and use as a guide. It literally will take you 5 minutes to set up what you want. And that's the thing. You're the boss. Just like, Rod and Kat, I have specific things that I don't take that these ladies do, because in my personal business model, even though my business is within Consignment, I do my part of the business very different than Libby does her part. I don't accept a lot of things that Libby and Samantha accept, and those are on my terms, right? So, it really takes, it may seem overwhelming, but it's simple to do. And
simple. And kudos to Rod and Kat. Like, they are consignment ready, right? They just laid out the terms of what they are willing to accept. And that's exactly what we that. It's not a question. It's not an answer.
How many of you freaked out when the pandemic happened and everything was shut down? I was telling people to stop leaving stuff on my porch because they were all cleaning out their closets and wanted to consign everything. And I was like, guys, I work in a hospital, knock it off. But we had no issues getting inventory when a lot of other people were freaking out because they didn't have access to inventory.
So I think Scott had made a comment in here. I want to put up on the screen because you actually just answered the question. So for me, it's, if it's worth consigning, I'm better for me just buy it outright. And I had that same thought process for the longest time, but I think you just hit the nail on the head. If you don't have the capital, because there's a lot of people that don't have the capital, especially if you're starting off, if you're new in your business, or if you just quit your job and you don't want to put that money out, it is good to be consignment ready. Just for the fact that when those big buys do come, you have a business that's already in place that you can literally spend no money, still be able to grow your business, and then use that new money to reinvest back into your reselling business. So it does have its advantages. And I think that's the key, because I had that thought process for the longest time. And I am always consignment ready because, like you said, you don't want to leave money on the table when it comes. And I have consigned stuff in the past and done that. But, for me, it just has to make sense for the business. And I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people have to realize. That I think it's a good point you guys are making. You should be consignment ready because, when those big buys come, those big buys that you miss out on, you can still do those, but use that money to reinvest so that you have that money next time when those buys do come.
And there is one other situation that kind of applies. Like, let's say somebody comes to you with a large collection and it's so vast, you are unable to accurately assess the value of this collection, whatever it may be. And it could be a huge risk for you to say, I think it's worth $10,000. I'm not sure. Or they could be asking 20, and you just don't know. Like, you don't know until you get in there and you see it. So to have consignment as an option when you have like a vast collection of things that you really just can't assess is a really secure and safe way to do it, where your consignor is going to make the appropriate amount and you're not risking all of that capital on something you really you just can't accurately assess it until you get into the details. So in that situation, it is a really good option too.
And that's something me and Kat, I think we both talk about, where we both have bought massive collections of stuff. And yes, we had the capital to do it. We did risk our capital where we weren't 100. I mean, we had, I would say, making a calculated risk where you're confident. You research, you're confident what you do, but at the same point in time, you're not sure how long those things are going to sell for, how long you're going to sit on them, and you have a general idea, but if you have never made those purchases before, that's a very stressful part, because that's what I call leveling up your business. So I do like now more and more I think about the combination of trying to level up your business with someone else's goods is kind of a nice step.
Yeah, and I actually, on one of my research videos coming up, talked about it because one of the items in there was something that sold for over $2,000. I came across an auction that had like 5 of them, and when I found it, it was years ago, and I didn't have the capital, which that was on an auction, so that wouldn't be that situation. But that would, if you run into that where you don't have the capital, you could offer that. And I will tell you, like, me saying I'll consign them, even if I did the 60-40 split like they're doing, 40% is more than I'm going to give you if I'm going to buy it. I tell people outright, like, I buy low. That is my whole business model. Now, higher dollar, faster sell-through rates, I've paid up to that 30, 40%, but typically I like to be at 20% or less. So for somebody with higher dollar items, me consigning it for them would get them more money than me buying it from them. Because if I buy it, I'm not going to give them that much. But for me with the collections, that comes down to the whole time thing. Like I would need to know almost that whole, and I have the knowledge to know like I wouldn't want somebody to send me like 100 pieces and I want 2 of them, right? Like that would be pointless. But if I buy it where I can pull those 2 pieces I really want, and then I can put the other 98 on Whatnot at a $3 or $5 start, then it's good. And I did 1 consignment sale on Whatnot, and I did not do it again. And it did not go well for her or myself. And I think that's because I just kind of took everything. There weren't a lot of name brands. It just flopped for me and for her. So doing sales with items that are live sales too, I start low, and most people on Whatnot are going to start low. So that person has to be prepared to get $1 for each item. And a lot of people aren't willing to take that risk. Now, me starting at low compared to somebody that might not have a following, you're probably going to get a better result, but then I'm going to take half of it. So then you might be better, to do it yourself without a following. So it's,
But also too, Kat, like you spent years of your hard-earned money, time building up this following that you do have. You building your following is the same thing as building up your business or building up your client list, building all that. Like, so you're literally building this. So you're literally handing the keys over to the castle. Say, hey, I'm going to be selling your stuff to my wide audience now. So there is benefits to
and
that.
It's under my name too, correct, is the thing. So that's where I have to be picky about what I'm taking. And I actually, it's funny you said that. Somebody commented on a video today, and I went and looked because I knew it was an older video, and it was one I was like so mad at eBay about like a refund they gave, and they're like, maybe you shouldn't do eBay anymore. So I looked, it was over a 4-year-old video. I'm like, this video is over 4 years old, so still doing eBay. We all get mad at these platforms, like it's gonna happen, right? Like crap happens on all of them. And I vent, but I think in almost all of my venting, like none of it is bad enough to make me want to quit these platforms. It's just part of doing business. I'm just frustrated. I vent and then I move right back on with what I'm doing. All right, Rod. Miss Linda says a friend of hers gave her 13 vintage Atari games dated 1982. Is it better to sell individually or a lot? She has no way to test them, and they all appear to be clean.
So the old cartridge games are built like tanks. So when I sell Atari games, I don't test them. I just sell them. So I think you're going to be fine on that. When it comes to Atari, though, the market for Atari has been dwindling over time. Nintendo was what everyone wants, and then moving forward. But you got to remember, like after each generation goes, those older generations kind of fall off. The amount of collectors and people are there. So when it comes to Atari, a lot of the Atari games aren't worth much. I would look them up individually. There are a couple of gems in there, but overall, you're probably going to put them in a giant lot and just sell them as well, not be done with it, especially if you don't do anything with video games. But I would just look them all up individually real fast. Quick search, you'll be done in a couple minutes, and then you're probably just going to lot them up. But I would tell you most Atari games are going to go for a couple bucks each.
Yeah, I've looked up and I've never found any that I would do by themselves. There are ones that should be done by themselves, but I have never found any that should be. All right. Miss Sandra wants to know, if I want to start live reselling, do I start with Whatnot or District? Or if you have something else that you are selling live on, you can recommend that to her as well. Keep in mind, though, I'm going to assume she's new and doesn't have a following.
Yeah, I'm going to pass as I do not do any live selling.
So yeah, we're going to put the live selling on Libby's lap because she is the one actively doing it at the moment. So.
All right. So I love live reselling. I did Whatnot. I did a little experiment. If you want to check out the Consignment Chats channel, as somebody that started without a following, I did it for a couple months. just so I could report on what kind of happened, what that looked like. Super fun. Does not work for my business model at all. However, I use a software called Comment Sold, and I do live selling. It is not auction format. It is just a regular, buy it now as you would have on eBay format. It integrates with my Shopify, and it streams simultaneously to Facebook, Instagram, and our Conchi Consignment app. So I find that very rewarding. I love it. It is a great way to interact with your customers. I was coming from a brick and mortar. Our customers really missed us when we went all online. So being able to have that connection is why we do it. It's not necessarily for sales, although we do make a good bit of sales. It is a great way to connect with your customers.
So just like the three women on here told you guys need to be consignment ready, I am a firm believer that everyone needs to be live selling ready as well. Mm-hmm. And the big reason for that is at any point in time, I can go live and just with an audience and sell that. So if you start slow, it's going to take time to build up. Doesn't matter if you go in district, doesn't matter if you go in whatnot. Just think of it as only a brick and mortar store. Like if I open a store, I don't expect the first day to have 1,000 people come through my store.
Right.
It's going to take time to get my name out there. It's going to take time for people to find my store, just like on the same on those live selling platforms. You want to network with other people. You want to get in raid trains. You want to get involved in different groups. Anything you can to help promote your business or help get traffic brought to you. But I think I think everyone should at least be able to do it or be ready to do it, because as we talked about earlier, when a massive lot comes in, or Kat just talked about, and they talked about, you can either you can buy it yourself, and then you're required all this merchandise. You can consign it, or you could, another option is live selling, because you can literally 80-20 rule. A lot of us do when we do buy massive lots where, 80% of the money is going to come from 20% of the items. Well, then you have with the rest of that stuff, how are you going to quick move it? Live selling is a great way to quick move it and get some of that capital back and move that product right away. So I think it's great. Depending on what you sell, Sandra, just because district is broken down by certain niches, if you're like, for example, like like Kat does knickknacks, it's going to be, mostly glassware, antiques in there, jewelry. Where like the Commonwealth Picker, they have one on there. Dibbit, it's going to be more pop culture, 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff, sports cards. It just depends on what category you're selling. So if you are going to district, same thing with whatnot too. You want to make sure you have items that do sell. So go on there, watch other shows and categories that you want to sell and see what they're selling, what's not selling. Take notes, what you do like, what you don't like, because whatnot and district are not live selling platforms. They're social media platforms. You need to treat it, what you like on social media is about grabbing attention. So if you're not going to stop and watch someone's video, they're just sitting there on monotone or pausing, dead air, on Facebook, or you're going to on Instagram, they're going to scroll right by. You won't sit here if we all just sat here like that, complete silence. You guys would be all gone, Yeah. So like when you go to shows on there and people do that, I skip, I get right out and go to the next show. So keep these things in mind. Biggest thing I did was I took notes, what I liked, what I didn't like. So when I went to do my shows, even though my first couple of shows were flops, it was what I was building on and knew what I liked, but I knew how I had to get there because of what I saw, what I didn't like and did like.
So if I had to pick one, and she did say she's selling glass and kitsch items,
Yeah.
I would say if I had to pick one, I would go with knickknacks on district. Yep. And that's because even though there are a lot of sellers and it is starting to get a little more crowded over on knickknacks, it's not nearly as crowded as whatnot. So you are able to take the community that Jocelyn has built, Crazy Lamp Lady, and pull them into your shows. And it still emails everybody on that platform when you go live. So as somebody who's new without a following, I think you would do better on district, on knickknacks specifically. And I know several people, I will tell you, some of the people that are constantly in the top 3 of the sellers do not have a social media following. And they are making more sales than me with a social media following. Now, I'm only doing 1 to 2 shows per week on knickknacks. So they might be doing daily. I don't know. I'm not following, like how often they're going live. But I think you would have a better chance of selling on knickknacks. Now, I would say try both, but I would get your feet wet. Try to get approved on knickknacks. I know Jocelyn had like 600 applications to approve last week that I heard, and then you have to do onboarding. So Whatnot might be a little bit faster to get approved on, possibly, not necessarily. I have a link. I'm more than happy to send you a Whatnot seller referral link if you message me on Instagram or email me. And that normally will push it through a little faster. I will tell you, for myself, I have a better sales average on Whatnot. And that is because I have built up my following on Whatnot over the last 2 years. So I have more followers. I think I'm close to like 13,000 followers on Whatnot, whereas District and Knickknacks just got the capability for people to follow you on there. So that's very new there. So I do better on Whatnot still, but talking with some of my friends, most of them do better on Knickknacks. So that's why I'm saying if I had to choose one, I would probably choose Knickknacks. And I see Miss Sandra sent us a $1.99 super chat. Thank you. I will tell you, yeah, see, Val used did you use it on Knickknacks or on Whatnot? That is my question. So I would say message me. I'm more than happy to give you mine for Whatnot. I don't have one for Knickknacks, but on Whatnot and Knickknacks, I think it's important, especially as a new seller, to take at least one picture and put a title so that people that are searching for the type of glass and kitsch items you have will find you. Very, very important. We do about half catalog shows and half uncataloged now. We do Shop the Shed and I walk around randomly with my phone, which is a fun time. But as a new seller, that might not work. Now, some of my friends do that as new sellers and do very well. So if you have amazing stuff, the people will come. They will come.
Yeah.
And if you are regular, they will keep coming. That is the key.
That's what I wanted to ask, Kat. I want to throw an additional question there because I know when I haven't been live selling for a little bit now, but we were very big on telling people consistency is key. Are you still finding that on Whatnot and District, that consistency and getting yourself the sales consistently out there is important?
I think the consistency really matters, but on Whatnot, I have been a lot less consistent, and I actually took almost 6 months off Whatnot, and I'm thinking of taking some time off of Whatnot again as our sales are starting to drop, because I feel like you almost can oversaturate your buyers and your market by doing it too much. And we have only been doing one jewelry show a week on both platforms, and then one Shop the Shed, and our sales averages are starting to fall, which makes me kind of pull back because I don't want to lose money, right? I'm not doing this to lose money. But just like this show, like that's how we built this podcast. It's every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Like everybody knows, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. here we are, right?
Yeah.
Come hell or high water, typically we are here. And same thing. So like, Knickknacks, my jewelry show, I kick off the raid train, the vintage jewelry raid train every Wednesday, 6 p.m. So I know, like every Wednesday, 6 p.m. there I am. I've been doing Saturdays at 3 p.m. I might kind of experiment with some different days and times once Dalton's out of school because I've really been working around his schedule. But I think same day, same time of the week really helps kind of cement in people's minds, like when you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Also,
And
too,
you touched. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say just one thing to add to it. When you're talking about consistency, it's not just weekly based on those times, but it's consistency in those categories because, you know, people that bounce around a lot on there aren't going to build up those, not say fans, build up that clientele or build up the
regular buyers.
Your regular buyers. So like that's why Kat sticks to glass, whereas she's sticking to her jewelry because that's the one she's building this clientele in there. So I do highly recommend when you do start, you just stick in one category on there because you need to build a consistency in there to build those clientele. And then you can branch off to other things or try other things out there. But in the very beginning, that is crucial as well.
Yeah. All right. Let me give you a dolphin. Here you go. Thank you, Miss Sandra. All right, I am going to throw this up here real quick. And I'm going to throw it up here with a caveat. So Renee said she disagrees about encouraging folks to do consignment. You have to pay the taxes on the item. You have to store the stuff. They don't get that some things are long tail. So I am going to tell you this because I listen to these ladies talk at Boss Reseller Remix. These ladies don't keep it long tail. They tell these people if it is not sold, and I'm going to go around and they can tell you, if it is not sold in a certain amount of time, those people... and they can tell you, you can choose your terms. You could say, if it's not sold in 30 days, then the item is mine to either sell for a lower price or to give away or do whatever I want. So ladies, if you will, tell Renee the part of your terms as far as how long you're going to hold an item on consignment.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of storage space. And so I have about 1,500 items in my store, which is huge for me. I've been expanding. I only keep items for 6 months. And previously, if an item was here longer than 6 months, then I would donate it. And that was in my terms. The consigners knew that. Don't have any issues. And now I went to the way that Libby runs her business. And after 6 months, it becomes my inventory. And again, I haven't had any backlash or issues with that. I just raised the rate that I earn and said that after 6 months, their items are mine. And everybody said, "Good job, Samantha." And they kept bringing me stuff. So.
All right, again, y'all, I'm going up to Libby on this.
Yeah.
Go for it, girlie.
So this is a great topic, and I want to ask a little bit about the taxes. So what you pay out to your if you're talking sales tax, yes, you collect and remit sales tax. But if you're talking taxes, what you pay out to the consignor is actually your cost of goods sold. So it is all deductible. You are not paying tax on that. That is your cost of goods sold. So I'm not sure which you were asking about, but hopefully it covers both.
We had another one too, actually, where.
So put that link in
Scott.
everyone. If you sell an item for $10 and you're paying out 40% commission, or if I'm buying it directly for $4, it's going to be the same as your taxes. So it's the same as that concept of that. So I know we had multiple comments in there about taxes. It's the same exact business model. Doesn't matter if I give them $4 the item, or I consign and pay them out $4 for it. It's still considered cost of goods.
Yeah, thank you. So at the end, I do 60-day consignment terms, and at the end of 60 days, it becomes my store inventory. I'm very upfront about that with my consigners. Again, if they don't like the terms, then they're just not a good fit for my business, and that's okay, no hard feelings. But it just becomes my inventory. And I do tell them if they have long tail items, that, they become my inventory. There is, the sell-through rate. They might not sell for 2 years, and they have to be okay with that.
So,
and
can I ask a question about that? Because I'm sure we'll probably get this in the chat.
Yeah.
So do you have the discussion with your clients about pricing of your items before they consign? Because, like, for example, if I'm going to bring a long tail item to you, you're going to tell me it's not going to sell for 6 months or maybe a year. So are we all not going to have a conversation? Okay, we're going to list it for 25% of the market value now, just so it can sell in those days? Or how do you guys go through that process with your clients?
So I think we generally all agree on this, is that we decide and we set ourselves in front as the professionals, and we say we determine the market value. It is our job to sell this within that 60 days or 6 months, as Samantha has, and we will do everything in our power, whether it be markdowns, but we determine the price and we determine the market value. Market value may be higher or lower than what you think. If somebody wants to see how we research it, of course, we're happy to show them, but we do not let the seller have any input as to the value of the item. But, if there's that special collectible that has a family history that we really don't know about, it's a unique item, of course we're going to listen to them and, take their expertise. Yeah.
And we sell on many, I see a lot of people asking, is this brick and mortar? Is this online? We sell online. None of us have a brick and mortar store anymore. Libby used to. And we sell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook, Etsy. Like, we have a plethora of platforms, and we have our own websites. So our consigners can go on their websites. They can go into their consignment accounts and see what we're pricing things for, what we're selling things for. So
Yeah.
it's very transparent and upfront.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot assumption people make a lot of times, I just want to clear this up, is that the consigner is bringing you that items to make money. Sometimes money is not the motivation for somebody to consign something. It is their grandma's stuff that nobody in the family wanted, and they wanted to find a new home. They're not concerned about how much you're making from that item. They're concerned about rehoming that item. So money is not always the primary motivation for somebody bringing you stuff.
And their business model is very similar to an estate sale company, guys, because in the way where you guys are literally, they have all this stuff, you guys are taking all these items. And if you ever seen a estate sale, a lot of the estate sale contracts say that the family is not even allowed to be there the day of the sale because they are the professionals and they don't want them stepping in or dictating the sales or dictating any of that. Yeah. So it's that's why I asked that question. I knew you guys are pretty much similar to that, but
yeah. And we do everything in our power, as Libby mentioned, to sell that item. I mean, we do all the way to that last week. Those items get marked way down just to try to get whatever we can for, that before it gets flipped back into our inventory. So everything is done to sell that.
Like a estate sale, you're full price first day, second days, maybe 75% off, last days 50% off because they're trying to move those items. They're trying to do whatever they possibly can to get the max amount of money for those sales and push it through.
And then if it doesn't, well, we already did all the work for it. And if we want to store it, then great. It can go back to full price. It can sit there and hopefully it'll sell later on and we earn that.
Now, some of it, though, do you donate and say, get it out of here?
Oh, yeah. I'm having a garage sale in 2 weeks. So I'm going to go through a bunch of expired inventory, clean out a bunch of space. I got a pile of new consignment that needs to get listed and gone through, and it's garage sale season. So if I want to source myself, I need to clear out some space. So yeah, we do still. I still clear stuff out. Libby hangs on to it.
I hang on to it, man. I have stuff in my eBay store that I'm almost embarrassed to tell you how long it's been there. But
we all do.
Space is not like a limiting factor for me right now, so I don't really concern myself much with that. But what we do to clearance our items is we do a lot of fundraising. We do 4 major fundraisers throughout the year where all the profits are donated. Like we do Diane Lassan's Fearless Living. We're ambassadors for that. And so we use a lot of those goods, and our consigners know that we use sometimes when they become our store inventory, they're used for the greater good and to raise money for some of these organizations that we work with. So there's also that. Yeah.
And they see that because that's done live. Those are live sale fundraisers. So they love to see every other, that was my base, great. I'm glad the money's going to this or that. And, that helps build the trust too. And that, that support.
Trish, she's not watching. You know how I know she's not watching? She just tried to call me. Lisa, I'm going to tell her.
Wow.
I'm just going to tell her I called her out live on my show. Lisa sent a $5 super chat and said, thanks for the great advice from you and guests. I just got 2 Coogee sweaters for $10. That is amazing. A Swarovski and Yadro, all good resale value. Great community. That is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Lisa, of course, gets the beach super chat. So here you go.
But just so she knows, we're also consigning our knowledge. So 50% of that belongs to us from what you learned from the show in the community. So
that's how we work. That's how we work, Kat. Sorry.
Love it.
Love it. It happened. All right, let's see. Meg says she sold a new tag clothing item was sealed in original plastic. The buyer opened a false INAD and returned the item without the original packaging. Can I deduct from the refund?
Sorry. A buyer opened a false INAD and returned it without original. Yes, you can give a partial refund because it didn't come back as it was sold. And that absolutely, yes. Unless it comes back to you in the exact condition that you sold it, then.
Yeah. So again, we just had that happen. So I'm putting it to Libby. It's something I listed, but our business is very different. So the returns came back to Libby. So Libby dealt with it. So tell them about that.
Yeah, so it came back in a different condition than it was shipped out, and went ahead and just used that little edit. I think it says edit and deduct when you're issuing the refund on eBay, and you can deduct up to 50% of that and not reimburse the original shipping if you see fit. So that's what we did because our item was unsaleable the way it came back.
And in certain situations, you can also fight that and not give a refund at all, depending on if you have proof and then, you know, before and after based on that. But I mean, most of the time you end up just going to deduct up to 50%, like they said, and not give back the or the shipping either. So
Yeah.
I want to tell you, I had somebody, and I talked about this on 2 shows ago, bought a tablecloth. We think they either cut it, ripped it, whatever. eBay did not give me the option to deduct when I issued that refund, which really ticked me off. So, and I heard from a couple other people that it happened. I did not pursue it just because I just didn't want the hassle. But I know you would have to like file a complaint against the buyer. I did report them for a false INAD, but it still, even with reporting them, would not let me deduct anything. I mean, shipping, no percent, nothing. And that was the first time that I had seen that. So I'm going to have to check. Most of my returns are like change their mind. So I automatically just don't give them the shipping back. I get it back. It's the same, kind of thing. But I'm going to have to pay attention more to and I don't get a ton of INADs though. So I don't know if it's just the INADs that it isn't, because I'm top rated plus and I should be able to deduct it, but it was gone on that one, which was an absolute pain in the butt.
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times recently, but the items were things that I had already given a partial refund for. So like one instance, I sell a lot of car parts. So I had some semi-truck shocks or something. There was a pair of them. The guy said one worked, but the other one wasn't greased or something. I really don't know that much about car parts. I just sell them for people that do. So I took his word for it and I sent him back half because he got 2. He said one worked, one didn't. So I partial refunded him 50%. And he sent them back anyways, which I didn't think he was going to. So then when I went to refund him at the end, it wanted me to give him the full amount, even though I had already sent him some. And it was, so I had to contact eBay in that instance. But that happened with another lady that bought a bunch of clothes and I had given her a discount as a partial refund. And don't give partial refunds until the end. Don't do it.
So did eBay in that case with the one you had already refunded, did they give you your money back?
So in both cases, eBay said, ignore the buyer and then they will complain to us and we will refund them and you get to keep your money. And I said, so you want me to give 0 customer service, ignore these people, and then when they complain, I said, do you want me to just tell them to reach out to you? And they're like, no.
And that'll count as a ding on you because you didn't respond too.
Right.
They specifically say that it would not come back on me. I had already responded in both. But because, so I felt terrible. I felt like I was hiding in a closet while somebody was knocking on my door. Like, I know you're home. You owe me money. Like, it was a weird thing. But eBay came through. They said that they would remove any feedback and it wouldn't count against me. And none of them counted against me. Neither of them was 2. Neither of them counted against me. They refunded them. I got to keep the money. It was such a weird situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds weird. All right, let's see. So Summertime Vintage says, I'm curious about consignment. People ask me all the time when they find out I resell, where is a good place to find info on getting started? Right here from these ladies. So they will tell you where you can find their stuff that will help you get started.
Everything that we do is on consignmentchats.com. We have all of our links there. We have so many fun things that we do, but my favorite thing is our Patreon. We do things on there for free, like listapaloozas and fun listing challenges. And we have a book club and all that stuff. And then we also do coaching and daily motivation and things like that. So the Patreon under Consignment Chats is my favorite part.
I would highly recommend joining our free community on Facebook because there's a lot of wonderful people there that are in the consignment business in all different shapes and forms it's a very positive group of people that we have that help with questions and all that good stuff too.
Yeah.
Fun community.
Or if you just want to get it done, go to consignmentchats.com, download the free template, and fill it out with your information. Go ahead. I'll tell you straight up. Earn 60% of your consignments, make it a 60-day term, make really strict regulations. And that way, when somebody comes to you and they say, can you sell this item? You can say, well, here are my terms. Do your items fit these terms? And then you have a very nice way of saying, no, we don't quite match up on this. Or, yes, I think this would be a good fit. And bing, bang, boom, you're done. You have any questions? Hop in the community anyway. We're a pretty fun bunch. But
and there's
want to get it done, that's how you do it. Yeah.
Plenty of videos on our YouTube channel too that are broken down into different parts of the consignment world. We do a lot of just reselling topic videos, but we do have a lot of consignment videos in there too. So that's always a good place to look.
Yeah.
I said he would be here by 9:11. He got here at 9:13. So I was 2 minutes off. I knew quite close when he would be here. Somebody thought he was, it was Gina that said he was late at 8:30. He's not late at 8, normally like 9:11. He's normally here. So,
and I just want to say Trish is still here. Good job.
I know. Ooh. That's because I told her I called her out live. So she had to come in here and hear what I was talking about her. All right. Here is Rod for Mark. Here you go.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
All right, let's see. Okay, as a fairly new reseller, do you suggest focusing on one platform or jumping into a few? Also, would you start out with a store on eBay or as an individual to start?
So I would suggest one platform at a time, and I do like to suggest eBay as the first platform because I wouldn't say it's complicated, but it is one of the more complicated platforms compared to others. And if you can master that and figure out, the shipping and all those things that go along with it, then the other ones are so much easier afterwards. And just start with one, master that one, then do another one, master that one, and do that. And then as far as the store part, when you're first starting out, I don't think that you need a store. You can still list a couple hundred items and worry about the listing process and the shipping process. And then you can add the things that a store gives you, like the promotions and the newsletters and all that. That's stuff that you can worry about later on.
So I would love to give you different, but we are all three very gung-ho eBay first. And no, we do not get paid to say that. We just truly, truly believe that mastering the most difficult one is the best. And the people that get their eyes on your items on eBay are by far, it's the largest buying audience you're going to find. So.
Yes, please. No squirrels running around. Focus on one platform. There is so much to learn, and you will not get the maximum benefit if you just are all over the place and just, throwing listings everywhere. Like, please focus on one, I'm begging you, platform. I do agree with the ladies. Start with eBay and build as you can. We are big on, not starting with the store, only buying things as your business can afford them, right? Like, so when you're making enough to support the store purchase, which they're pretty affordable right now, it's probably going to be fairly quickly. You can afford that. But when you make a purchase, just make sure your business is supporting it and you're not supporting your business.
So I agree with these ladies. eBay is the way to start because even though Mercari is going to be the easiest platform you're going to learn, you can't sell everything on Mercari. eBay, there is a buyer for everything that you can possibly think of on eBay. It's the reason why we all recommend eBay, because you can literally walk around your house and find anything in your house, put on eBay, and there will probably be a buyer for it. Amazon is going to be, I always like to say, like Mercari is middle school, eBay is high school, and college is Amazon. Learning curves when it comes to reselling. But I will say eBay, once you master eBay, all the other platforms are going to be pretty easy. Unless you want to move up to Amazon, then there's definitely going to be a learning curve there. And I agree with them. I don't think you should start with a store until you hit at least 250 items, because that's where they start charging you extra money for listings, because you can list up to 250 items there. It's when you determine if you should start a store or bump up in store, it's going to be the amount of listings. It's literally a math equation, because if you go on eBay site, they charge you an X amount of money for every listing over the recommendation. So over 250, you're going to start getting charged. You're better off just open a store at that point in time. And then what's the next one? Like, it was 1,000, now it's like 10,000, and then you get all the benefits from there. But it just depends how fast you're going to list. So if you're going to be full time, I'm assuming you're going to be listing a lot. But I mean, it might take you, if you're going part time, might take you a month or two to get to 250. So it just depends, or you can hit that within a week. It just depends how at the speed that you're listing.
Okay, I'm going to make Michael Lynn really uncomfortable, but we can't see your face, and say you're absolutely beautiful. I just want to say that since I have you up here big. And I want to say I agree with everybody else and say eBay should be the first platform. I will kind of add something though, because a lot of times for a new seller, you might only get 10 listings if you're one of those unfortunate ones. I would say after the 10, I would start posting to other platforms, especially if you're going full time. That's the only time I would encourage somebody to start posting on other platforms before they're comfortable with eBay, because 10 listings is not going to make you comfortable on eBay. It's simply not enough. So if they kind of curb you there, you need more than 10 listings to make a living. So in that case, I would look at what I was selling and consider either Posh or Mercari. Yeah, but it's still beautiful. You don't have to update it. It's okay. Nobody knows. We didn't know till you just told on yourself. So I would do as an individual, as far as your like posting. And I don't recommend the store until you get to 250 where it financially makes sense to go to a store. And I would say no for, I want everybody to know this, especially those of you that are new. So say eBay gives you a limit of 10 and you're one of the unlucky ones, right? You getting a store for 250 does not increase that limit of 10. So you would have a store and you would still only be allowed to post 10. So don't think that buying a store would increase your listing limit, because it does not. So be very, very careful. Oh, yay. So bargains and blessings. I'm doing squirrel right now, by the way. Love Mountain Adventures went to bargains and blessings. That's where I went on my video I put out on Catch Treasure Hunting yesterday. And I found close to $1,000 in linens in one shopping trip. I was with Marcia and Elena, Red Cardinal Treasures. So if you missed that video, go watch it. And I'm glad. That's one of my favorite thrift stores. Marcia's mom used to manage it, random fact. And help design the clothing store, which is really cool because they have two separate stores there. But that amazing, like it was like linen heaven. All right.
I want to add one thing to what you just said about the listings. So a lot of people, when you're a new seller, you may get restricted. Like Kat was saying, to many listings. From my experience, if you call up eBay and you talk to them, they will up those requirements. So even if you are restricted as a new seller, call them, because the reason they do that is they want to make sure you're not trying to scam people, make sure you're shipping stuff, you're not trying to grow too fast. But if you let them know you're going full time, they might, 50 or 100 or 250 right off the bat for you. So, you have nothing to lose. Pick up the phone, spend 10 minutes, give them a call, and just ask, let them know what your plan is, that you already have the inventory, that you quit your job, you're going full time. And everyone that I've talked to that have done that has been approved for more. Now, that's been a while since that's happened, but I would at least try.
Yeah, and then after a while, they'll just keep giving you, like, I have no limit now. eBay made a lot of us limitless. So they will increase it. But if you get stuck, then I would think about one of those other platforms. That's the only time. Other than that, I would say maybe like 100 items would probably be a good amount to like cross post and to like list perfectly catalog, where you start at the beginning and don't have a ton to move in all at once. I think 100 items might be like a good point to cross over. All right. Wendy wants to know, what do you typically consign? So is it mainly clothes, or what are you consigning?
I take anything that fits in I call it a medium-sized bag or box, and I tell them right in my terms on my website that I prefer like reusable shopping bags. Like a TJ Maxx bag is like my favorite size. I take 4 of them at each drop off. That's my limit. So I'm not taking like a whole estate in one day. And I don't do kids' clothes or like baby related items. I will do toys and stuff like that, but I do not like the clothes. So nothing smaller than a size 10, 12, and nothing that's huge. Like if it's a huge thing, it has to be a pre-approved, because I have sold huge things. I've sold cars and motorcycles and exercise equipment, but it just has to be pre-approved.
So I will accept anything, but I have over the last year and a half been moving my price point up. So I'm at this point doing $40 or higher, and will continue to increase that over time. Now that doesn't mean every now and then I won't take that little special extra piece because it comes in a group or, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm typically 40 or up at this point when I do it.
I do everything, including the kitchen sink. I recently stopped taking furniture in on consignment, but I do sell it. I don't know if it's the smartest business decision to sell everything, but I love it. It keeps me interested. It keeps my customers intrigued. My parents rehab houses, so I get a lot of architectural salvage. I like to keep that stuff out of the landfill and meet all kinds of cool people that buy it. So I love to sell everything. I don't enjoy consigning like most people, super high-end items. I don't like the stress of it. I've recently come to that realization. Molly likes to do that. I do not like the stress of consigning super high-end items and the risk associated with it. Do I do it? Sure. Do I like it? Not really.
So, the follow-up question we're going to get in the chat here is going to be, what is the highest item you guys have ever taken in to consign? So why don't you guys just answer that question now, because it's going to be coming.
Libby,
Yeah,
what was it? Oh, Samantha, you're first. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm trying to think. I mean, like I said, I've done like cars and motorcycle stuff, but that was like when I first started and I was dumb and I was only taking like 20%, earning that part. So it wasn't really a good deal for me then. Now I think the car parts are my favorite. My brother is a mechanic and he got some car computer something rather. I don't know, something for a semi truck. It's a computer thing. It was brand new. It sold for $1,200 within hours. Like clearly I underpriced it actually, but we were both pumped. He had got it for free. It was super great. So that was my favorite one.
Yeah. I think, Libby, I'm trying to think, was the Chanel bag our highest?
I don't even remember what that sold for, to be honest with you, Molly.
I want to say it was like $3,500.
Okay.
I feel like that might have been
so that's probably up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, the highest priced item I think was about $7,000. It was the first thing I ever sold on eBay. It was my aunt's old car that she literally drove on Sundays. Like it was one of those cars she had passed, and yes, I sold that on eBay. So that was probably the highest priced item I've sold. Other than that, maybe oh gosh, I don't know. There's been so much stuff like in that like $1,000 to $2,000 range. Like a lot of Mont Blanc watches, pens, artwork. Yeah, you name it.
Artwork,
I think
for sure.
I think people think consignment and they just think that we get a bunch of low stuff, but I don't put a limit on my stuff because my consigners don't know the market. They don't know something that sells really well on Etsy. They may only look at what's on Facebook or like all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's all up to me. I determine price. I determine, like, it is in my agreement that when I get it, I go through it and I have what goes in my Facebook auction group. I have what goes online like eBay. And then there's things that never even get listed. They get donated. That's all up to me right off the bat. One of my favorite ones was a pair of kids Nike Travis Scott. I don't remember all the details. I'm not a shoe person, but they were new in box, and it was one of my neighbors actually. She goes, "I'm moving. Can I bring you some stuff?" And I was like, "Sure." So she brought the stuff to me. I sold those rather quickly for $200 and something. And she emailed me like the next day and she goes, "I just looked at my account. I'd had those listed for $100 on eBay for over a year and I could not sell them. And you sold them within a week for over 200. Thank you very much."
Well, I think, Kat, for anyone out there who wants to consign, we have, if you want to sell purses, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, me and Kat have all the boxes. So we have a ton of boxes that we can hook
I
you guys
don't
up
have
with.
purse boxes anymore. I sold out of purse. My purse, I have like the giant boxes still.
Yeah, you got giant boxes left.
But the
jewelry
purse
boxes, I got everyone's. Yeah.
I have my jewelry boxes. So I have a few jewelry boxes. Most of my jewelry boxes sold out. I have a ton of Louboutin. If you need Louboutin, I will make you a massive deal on Louboutin if you have Louboutin shoes. I got lucky. Somebody just bought 12 this week, and I was like, yes. I might email them and be like, do you need more? Because I will make you a deal. Because we got over 600 Louboutin boxes. We got almost that many Hermes and Chanel, and those sold very fast, but the Louboutin have been taking their sweet time. So I might go back and kind of reevaluate those soon too. So I've only done consignment really twice. Once one of my friends was a lister for me, so I paid her. So she actually had the stuff, and it was all pretty decent Harley stuff. And so she actually had it, took the photographs, she listed it on my account, and then she brought it here and I stored it and shipped it. And I think the highest we did was like $300 for like a Harley leather jacket. So like in that situation, it just happened to be perfect because she knew that they sold, but she didn't give me, and I just split 50-50 after fees, subtracted what I paid her to list her own items. And it worked out well. So that's the only thing I have as far as like me and what I have said I will. I think most of mine, if it comes, is going to be high dollar jewelry, just because I know a lot and I have the expertise on that, or possibly teacups. But that gets into, it's really hard because people would have to ship it to me because I don't have local people. So that's why I tend to gravitate towards the jewelry end.
Plus, it's easy to store too. Doesn't take up a lot of room.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The store says I have over 950 listings. Sales have been great. So what do you think of plans to reduce listings by half and plan on taking half of them down?
Sales have
I would
never
ask,
been great.
hopefully they're still in the chat. I would ask you why. Tell us why you're wanting to do that. Because just saying you plan on taking half down without reasoning kind of is hard for us to give input on it. So hopefully you're still there in the chat. I think I saw you chatting a couple minutes ago. Let us know why you're wanting, like, or you're planning to take half down. Yeah. I'm going to leave that question there, and I think click on another one, and hopefully they'll follow up for us. And I think Scott Cha-Ching King answered Miss Kathleen on combining shipping in the chat. Yeah, and we got this one. Look at this. All of these are answered. Cheryl wants to know, are you like, and I think you guys have answered this, none of you are selling it offline in a store, right? All of you are selling online.
Correct. All online.
Okay. Susan says, discuss consignment versus reselling.
One of us
we
could
think
do
it's
this.
all. Yeah, it's technically all a form of reselling. You're still taking things and reselling them to other people. It's just that we're not going out and sourcing them ourselves. We're not going to thrift stores. We're not going to garage sales necessarily. The consigned items, people are bringing them to us. They still own that item, and then we're doing the work to put it on and earn our commission to sell it for them.
Yeah. So I'm going to add one thing because I want to touch on a point that Kat made earlier was, you know, when you're buying outright. So I've done both. I've bought outright and I've done consignment. I've done them both at the same time. I've offered them to people. Like sometimes you can use it as a bargaining strategy. But what percentage? So if I buy outright, I'm going to say to that person, I'm buying it at about 10 to 15% of what it's going to sell for. if I'm doing consignment, you're going to earn about 40% over 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to touch on that because you were saying you do between 10 and 20, or you buy up a little bit higher when you do buy
if
up.
they're higher dollar. Like my highest sales have been right around the $3,000 mark, and all of those items I paid about $800 for. So me buying them outright for $800, where if I had consigned them, I would have gotten, you know, I would have had to pay $1,500 essentially.
Right.
Where I only paid $800. So I would have had to pay double if I consigned those items. But like that's where, like I was talking about earlier, like most people are not going to have $800 to drop on a single item that could be sitting there for a year. I was lucky. They sold in 2 months, but you know, most people don't have $800 to drop and just let sit there, especially in the beginning of your business. That's why I missed out on those expensive sculptures a few years ago. I couldn't justify, and I would have had to pay $500, $600, $700 a piece, and they probably would have taken a year or more to sell, and I just didn't have that money to let it sit there. So that's where, you know, if you can, and I think we talked about this, I talked to Rod about it, because the lady I got my boxes from, if she had, and she has not thus far, offered like her Louis Vuitton, her Hermes that were in these boxes, I could not, like, even where I'm at now, I could not afford to buy them from her. There is no way. Some of these Hermes purses are $20,000, $25,000 purses. So in that situation, that's where, like, hell yeah, like I will consign your $25,000 handbag gladly. So if I was presented with that opportunity, I definitely would take it. But I have not been. And I know she has like a favorite consignment store she takes it all to, so I doubt that I'm going to get it. But maybe they'll like make her mad one day, and then I'll get it.
There you go. You'll be there to
you know, you never know. You never know. Did the store answer us? I don't think so. Not yet. So okay, let's go to Scott. So Scott gave me $10 because he heard his name. And I told him if he's going to give me $10 every time he hears his name, I will start talking about Scott a lot more.
Oh yeah, we will too. Yeah, we will. Scott, I'll say your
Scott.
name Friday night. Yeah,
we'll be like Scott.
It's like Beetlejuice. See his name, he pops up.
Beetlejuice, and then he'll be here. All joking aside, guys, Scott is absolutely amazing at new eBayer tutorials and how-tos. I have kind of gotten away from that as my channel has grown. I do have some on my channel on earlier videos, but I have not been doing a bunch of how-tos in years. And Scott is absolutely excellent at it. So if you're brand new and wanting like those tutorials and how-tos, definitely follow Scott over at Cha-Ching King. He is absolutely amazing. He actually was the speaker with me at my second nurse slipper camp. He and I hosted that in Tennessee. And he is absolutely amazing. He's saying he spent more money on Melody is what he's saying in the chat. All right. I want to give Scott, I think Scott deserves Kevin. We haven't played Kevin all night.
Oh no.
Here you
Poor
go.
ladies.
Close your eyes, ladies.
These poor.
I did not say that. So their expressions were great.
Commonwealth picker. You know you needed that in your life. So
Oh, Lord.
tonight. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. That's it.
I don't think Kevin's in here yet.
I love it.
He wants a refund.
That's valid. That's valid.
All right. So in your opinion, Jada wants to know, does consignment complicate your taxes?
No, it makes it really easy. I don't have to keep track of receipts because I have all my payouts for my consigners. So instead of making sure that I track receipts for items that I bought and I'm watching all that stuff, I just go in and see like, oh, I sold this amount and I paid out this amount. Boom, done.
Libby?
Yep. Agreed. It couldn't be. I mean, I think it's a lot easier than tracking receipts. It's all in the consignment software. I know exactly what my cost of goods sold is for my consigners, and my accountant loves it. She deals with a lot of consignment sellers, and she loves dealing with us because it's so easy.
Hold on, did you just say you use consignment software?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that might be our chat may not know that you guys actually have software that makes it super easy for you to do printouts, payouts, and everything, and taxes in.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. So yeah, there are many different ones out there and things that you can use. A lot are geared toward brick and mortar, but a lot are transitioning to encompass online resellers as well. And we use one called Consign Cloud, and love working with them. I've worked with them for a while. And they have a free version. I started on pen and paper and keeping track of people in a notebook. And then I went to a spreadsheet in Excel, and then I went to them and using them. So there is a process. We don't recommend that everybody just jump into software or using a program, but we are at the points in our business where we do, and it makes it quite easy.
Yeah. And my
as you
reseller
scale, you're using software to help you scale the business.
Yeah, definitely.
And my reseller Genie is also an option. So if you have a couple consigners, they do it really well. They track it. You can use it. A lot of us are already using my reseller Genie, or a lot of you are already using my reseller Genie, but they are totally consignment ready, totally on board, and they make it super easy. So check that out if you haven't.
Yes.
So
definitely.
Dalton decided to come out because he's not feeling good. Brad's going to bed and Dalton's coming out here because he napped on the couch for the last few hours. So yeah, Brad said he still needs medicine, so he is not going to the last day of school, unfortunately. So he's going to hang with us for a little bit. We already put that up. And I think we kind of covered this. So Rose, they have a lot of videos on Consignment Chat on how to become consignment ready, and with like step-by-step videos that you can see. And I think we already answered where you consign things. This is a good question. So do you take your 60% before or after fees and taxes?
Yeah, so we recommend doing whatever suits you and your business and what you want to do. Mine depends on platform. I know a lot of people cringe when I say that, but I keep track of it in my spreadsheet, and I think it's super easy for me. eBay, I do before fees and everything because it's kind of complicated to dig down and see actual prices. But then things like Mercari and Poshmark. Mercari, obviously, there's no fees. And then Poshmark, they very easily say that your item sold for this amount and you get this amount. So I do after fees on that one. It's just whatever is easiest for you. I do the quickest. And then those fees, you still use them as a deduction just like anybody else. So
yeah. And I do 60% before fees. Taxes don't play into anything I do because the platforms I sell on remit the taxes. The only time taxes really play into it is if I'm doing a local sale and collect it there. At least that I'm in Pennsylvania. So that's the way I do my sales tax. But I do 60%. I absorb all the fees. And the reason that we decided to go that route is because I didn't want people to say, well, can you just sell my item on Facebook Marketplace because there's no fees? Or can you sell it on eBay because the fees are lower than Poshmark? I didn't want anybody to have any say in that, any commentary on it. So I absorb the fees for my business. Yeah.
And I do what she does.
Yeah.
some of my favorite consigners are resellers, and even I've never had any of them say that. Like one of my local consigners, she sells on Poshmark, and she used to sell everything, and then she niched down just to plus size clothing and shoes, and now I think she's niched down just to shoes. But she knows how to run comps. She has a great eye for stuff. She loves to shop, so she brings me everything else. And she has looked at all of my stores and all my platforms because she has commented on them or told me certain things about them, and all positive things. And she's never said anything either about the fees or anything. She's just super pumped that she can go and shop and still do that part of it, and then just bring stuff to me, and I send her a check every month.
Well, I mean, it's no different than what Kat's doing right now. She's hiring people to sit there, take photos and lists for her, where they're just giving you guys a bigger percentage and just dropping the stuff off and being done with it. So
Yep.
it's kind of, different way to scale your business or grow, even if you are reselling.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm talking to somebody about doing that exact thing, but not on a consignment basis. We haven't really talked about how it would work out. Same thing. She loves shopping. She has a great eye. She used to resell. She doesn't want to resell anymore. She's a stay-at-home mom. She's like, if you, and I would give her more than this, but she said, if you would give me gas money and let me go shop, I would go source for you. And she knows the good stuff. So I would have to figure out like, something like above, like I'll give you like double what you paid if you get a good deal or something like that, plus gas money. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully that way I would have somebody outsourcing. I know like Kaylee Lane, her employees source. And I think you would have to find the right employee. Like, I don't feel like the employees I have right now would be like that great at sourcing. They haven't been doing it long enough. But if you could find somebody that resold, that has a good eye, that can look up comps, like then like I would love to find somebody to hire to source only higher items, but they would have to be able to do it, right? Like I couldn't send them out and then they come back with crap, or they come back with 2 items and then I just paid them $50 to bring me $50 in items. That would defeat the purpose. But I would love to find somebody to source for me. And yeah, so if anybody's in my area and wants to just go shopping, I'll work something out. All right. D. Bernard says, I received a message on eBay that stated my item arrived broken. What should I do?
I would ask for pictures and details as to that item and make sure that it is actually your item. And also the packaging. Did it arrive broken because the item is a cookie jar and they just don't ship very well? Or did it arrive broken because, a forklift went through the box? Because I have had both of those things happen. So you definitely need some more information. And then from there, you can determine whether you want to issue a refund, if you want to make a claim through whichever shipping partner that you used for that, and that so forth. But you definitely need more information.
I agree. And pass on to Libby for more detail.
Yeah. Same thing as Samantha said. If you shipped through USPS, you might just be out of luck at this point. They will send a message once you submit the claim. They will send a message to your buyer asking them to bring the item, and you asking you to bring the item and the packaging to the post office. They will bring the item and the packaging to the post office, and the post office will say, we don't know what to do with this. So your claim will remain unpaid. I've had this experience many, many times. USPS has not paid a claim for anything that has been broken for me in probably 3.5 years at this point. So if I have something expensive I'm shipping, or there's a good chance that it may break, I use the ship cover insurance on eBay, which is wonderful, or I ship via FedEx, which they will pay a legitimate broken claim without having to have the item in their possession. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I ship all my high-end items through either UPS or FedEx for the same reason. Also, too, it's a lot easier to track those items, and if you have any issues. But for me, if anytime an item arrives broken, I tell the buyer to send me over some photos so I can see if it was my fault or the post office fault. They want to play soccer with my items, which does happen every once in a while. And then I actually make the buyer open a claim through eBay to go through the proper channels. It's not going to ding your account. But this way you just make them go to the proper channels, because if they give you a hard time, everything is documented through eBay, and eBay can step in if you need them to step in for any type of issue or problem there. So.
Yeah, so I do the same. I ask for pictures of not only the item, but also the box, because a lot of people send pictures of the item. They don't send pictures of the box. So I can determine, was it our fault or was it USPS? And I, a lot of times, do not file claims. I will just refund them if I think it was if I think it was my fault, there's no claim to file, right? Like if you don't have a box that looks like it's been kicked, your claim's not going to get approved. So there's no point. That's on you. I don't want them to send the broken item back because it's worthless to me. So if they provide me that proof, I'm going to send them an automatic refund. I do make them open a return, so I have protection from negative feedback. I tell them open a return, include the picture. You are not going to have to send it back. I will then issue you a refund. I have not filed a claim in years except for a lost claim, because the time and hassle to me and the buyer is just too much. So I wouldn't file a claim unless we're talking like several $100s. If it's $100 or less, I'm probably just going to cost it or count it as a cost of doing business, and I'm just going to refund them. That is what I would do. Here's a good question. S. Gray says, how long do you wait to pay out your consignee, and how long do you keep consigned items online? I think we've kind of talked about the how long, but how long do you wait to pay out to the consignee?
Since most of my consigners are bringing stuff monthly, sometimes weekly, I just pay out if they have over $25 in their account at the beginning of the month. I pay out the first week of the month.
Libby?
Yeah, so I pay out at the end of the 60-day consignment period. They get a week grace period where their stuff is half off, last ditch effort to sell it, and then I will pay them out. If it is somebody that is continually consigning with me, shout out to my Amazon seller friends, because they are shipping me boxes all day long. I will pay them. I pay them out once a month because their balances just get too big, and I don't want to be hoarding all that money. So yeah.
And do you guys maintain escrow accounts for that?
Yes. All right. So shout out. I'm shouting everything out today. All right. So we've done the book Profit First by Mike McAllowitz. Are you familiar with that, like, cash accounting system? Incredible book. So we have a C-Chats book club, and we go through this cash accounting system. So our consignment money goes immediately into a consigner account. It is totally separated. It goes right into the income, and it is separated out into our consigner payout account. So yes, it's in an absolutely separate account, and it's done automatically. And yeah, so we never have to worry about having the money to pay them out, because that is, right. I feel like when I originally did it, was like, you'd look at your bank account and you'd have all this money, right? And then you'd be doing the mental math. Well, wait, no, let's see, I owe about $10,000 to consign, or, and you'd be doing all that mental math. But this Profit First has made it so easy for anybody to do.
And we go through an app for that, and it is so easy, all at our fingertips. And the consignment software that we use, Consign Cloud, they have an integrated payout on their thing. So it's like $1.50, I think, per payout or something like that. So I just use that every month, where I just go in and it's like 2 clicks and boom, that person gets an email, and they can pick whether they want to print a check or they put in their banking information, and it's all on them after that. So it's very, very easy.
And I'm too cheap. I don't do that. $1.50 is too much for payout for me. I do it the free way.
Yeah, and that's where, guys, you got to decide what's worth it for your business.
Right.
I pay for a ton of stuff, and I don't keep that secret, because for me, like, time is money. And if it saves me time, then I'm all about paying for it. But be careful, because, like, before eBay started the managed payout, your fees would add up all month, right? Yeah. And I know when I was in my 20s, and I will admit this, my eBay account went negative so much it wasn't funny, because I would have hundreds of dollars of fees, and I'm here, 20, 21 years old, not paying attention, spending the money because I sold the stuff, and then I have $200 in fees, and I don't have it. I love managed payments for that. Like, you only get paid out what is yours after the fees. But it would be the same thing if you're consigning you. And, like, after going to auctioneer school, like, auctioneers are also required to keep escrow accounts. You have to separate their money from your money. I think that's probably a legality in most states. I know for auctioneers it is. But because if they come and they want their money, right? Oh, Rose wants to know the name of
the book we're just talking about.
To know the name of the book again.
Yeah, so
I was going to do a whole new shout out on the book club because it got kind of skimmed over. And I just want to say
Oh.
this, the book club that Libby hosts once a quarter, it is not consignment based. It is business based, building your business reseller based. It's a different book every quarter, and it's privately met. So you can talk numbers if you want to, and it's recorded, but privately shared in a group so that if you miss a Monday night book club, you can watch it the next day and see what you missed. But I want to put that out there that it's amazing. If anybody loves book clubs, loves to get together and share business branding, that kind of thing, it is all free. It is something she does because she loves it. And I highly recommend it. Not just because she's our bestie and with us, but because it's just pretty incredible. Go ahead, Libby, and tell about this book. And also the banking that you were talking about is not just consignment based. So that's the other thing.
Yeah. So the book club is business boosting. Like we totally geek out in there. Like if that's your jam, like, you know, improving yourself, improving your business, we just totally geek out in there and it's awesome. But this book is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and it is a cash-based accounting system, and it's just about cash management and running debt-free. Similar, the best I can describe it is it would be similar. Most people are familiar with Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace. It is like the business version of that without the faith component of it, but kind of like that. But it is really a game changer for everybody. You make sure everybody that did the book club is able to pay themselves a wage, distribute their profit at the end of the quarter. Like it's a game changer for anybody. Yeah.
And it calculates daily. So like if I had $200 put into my RelayFi account today, I have it set up so that 50% automatically goes to my consignment account and 10% goes to this and it just does it daily for me. So I can just look once a week or whatever and say, okay, that's how much is in there and pay everybody out.
Yeah.
And if you, so Relay Financial is the bank. It's an online bank. We don't get any referrals for it, but we do highly recommend them. It was recommended to me by my accountant, but they do distributions like that, percentage distributions. But if you want more information, you can hop in over on Facebook or go to our consignmentchats.com, hook into the book club. You can see the past recordings of Profit First. You can see the recordings we did with Profit First for e-commerce authors, Relay Financial people, and really get your business set up to be so you can be distributing your profit and paying yourself. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miss Bridget says, when people ask you where you acquired the item, do you tell them, and why do you think that they ask that?
So I don't think that this is any different than if you were to thrift or have it given to you by somebody. I don't have it asked a lot, but I am very upfront that things are consignment. This morning I had someone message me on eBay. It was a pair of vintage over boots. They were rubber boots that go over your boots, but they're kind of weird. But they asked if they were, like, what model they were. They asked some questions. I sent more pictures back to them and more details, and I said, this is the box that came with the consignment. These were all consignment lot. Like, I'm very open that things come in on consignment. These are the details I have, and the other details I don't. And she immediately paid $90 for both pairs, so I think she was fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always open about where my items come from also, even if I source them, but I don't, obviously you would never give your consigners information away, but just the fact that it's on consignment and why they ask, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I don't ever ask people that when I buy something. I either want it or I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just say on, we got this on consignment, or I love auctions. I'll say, I'm just very upfront about it. Like sometimes I even tell people without them asking, I'll say, oh yeah, look, my son and I picked this up at an auction, and it just is what it is.
So that's actually how I ask those questions all the time when I'm out buying. And the big reason for that is because I'm actually asking questions to dig down to get more information. So I want to find out where they got it from, because maybe they had this item. Maybe there's more of those items still available that I can get.
On the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Like my Louis Vuitton?
No, Yeah, like that. Or I'll ask because I want to know more information. Is the item legit? So hey, where did you get this? Where did it come from? Like, oh, the cat said, oh, I bought on the streets of New York. Well, more than likely, it's not going to be legit. So I do that at yard sales, and people have actually, I'm like, hey, just curious, where'd you end up getting these purses from? And people are like, oh, that purse there I got in New York. That one, but that one over there, that one's real. So like, I had people that flat out just tell me that because
they know
why you may be asking questions. So there's multiple reasons why people may ask those questions, and sometimes people enjoy the backstory to items, because sometimes if you ever watch like American Pickers or like Pawn Stars, sometimes the story is more important, more valuable to the customer than the actual item. So there's a lot of reasons why people ask these questions. Just be honest with them. I mean, because
Always.
no one wants to buy anything from someone that's dishonest. So
Always,
just be honest, all the time. You buy stuff from people that you like. You don't buy stuff you don't like. So if I think you're trying to be shady, I'm not going to buy it from you. Now I got more questions. So just be honest.
Right?
Yeah, and I tell this every time we get asked this. I was asked one time where it came from, and I told them an estate sale. I will even tell people where I get it. I get a lot out of New Mexico. I get a lot out of Maryland and Pennsylvania. I will say it was an estate sale from Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was an estate sale from Maryland, wherever it was from. So one time somebody asked me because their grandmother's item that was exactly like mine was stolen out of Texas. Mine I had got here in Florida. And that just kind of like, they're like, oh, okay. So they were looking for their grandmother's item because it had been stolen. So that could be the reason. Yeah. I have people ask because they want to know how much stuff is worn as we are getting higher dollar clothes. I have had some questions about that, and I tell them, I'm sorry, I can't answer it. I got it from an estate sale, so I don't know how much it was worn. If they want more pictures, we can send them. Sure. So, I mean, they might have different reasoning, and a lot of people do it's the provenance, especially if it's an antique item. They want to know where it came from, if it was a collector. Like all of my Louis Meideke pieces was a giant collector, and it was really cool. Somebody messaged me pictures of him in his studio from the 70s and told me that I could include them into my listings because they loved him as a potter, and I thought that was cool. So sometimes people just want to know the story.
I had a historian I actually sold a picture lot on Whatnot to a customer. They reached out to me and said that they sent me photos like, thank you so much for selling this. They bought the lot for me like $40, and they put the pictures up individually. Someone bought every single picture individually for like $12 or $15 a pop. So they made like $240 on all these photos. But they said that the person that bought was a historian for her site. So they were asking questions about that and then was providing them questions. So there's a lot of times like provenance, like they want to know the backstories. They want to know the history behind it because it could complete that story that they've been looking for that you just don't know.
Yeah.
Renee is asking, do you 1099 your customers at the end of the year?
I
think she means consigners, I would think.
Consigners, yeah. I have recently switched accountants, and I will be doing that this year. I did not previously.
Yeah, so I 1099 anybody that makes over $600 gets a 1099, and it's processed the same as my contractors are processed. Everybody gets a 1099 over $600. Easy, done.
Perfect. All right, one more question, and then we will say goodbye. We already answered that. Hold on. I think we've answered most of these.
Ooh.
I already answered
good
that.
Questions. I love that.
I know.
This was a good one.
What about the
I'm just going to answer this because it's already after 10.
Okay.
And I answered this in the chat, but maybe more of you want to know. So Rose is asking, is there any protection if a package is dropped off in a USPS collection box but never arrived? Can this be covered by insurance? So the answer to that is if it got that initial scan. As long as the post office scanned it once, then yes, it would be covered by the lost package insurance. Ground Advantage is 100, Priority is 100. And all you would need to do is file a lost package claim. For Priority, you have to wait 2 weeks to file that. I'm not sure the time on Ground Advantage because I haven't had any go lost on me. But Priority is 14 days. But if it got dropped in that box and never got scanned, the answer is no, because they're going to say they never got it. So we are at the end. Cheryl says this has been, yeah, guys, you can add in all kinds of different business models. You can do multiple. You could even switch to it. You know, you got to find what works for you. And like their idea of being consignment ready, like you never know what opportunity is going to present itself to you. So that's why I would say, like, don't be closed off. Like I said, I have said, okay, like if it's $500 or more, I'll do it. And that's just, I haven't had anybody consign anything, I'll tell you that, but that's okay, you know, because that's what I've decided. So at least have some idea. That doesn't mean you're going to actively do it, but if you happen to come across something or meet someone that has stuff that, you know, you don't have it in your budget to purchase, then this would be a great option. So I'm going to let these ladies say their final goodbyes to you. Again, their link is down in the description, as well as Marcia has been putting it in the chat for us. So thank you, Marcia. So here is Miss Samantha.
Yes, and I saw someone ask again. So I am in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I am not able to source, so I love doing consignment, and I love coaching people and helping everybody else be consignment ready. So join our Facebook group, watch our YouTube, and check us out on Patreon. Everything under Consignment Chats.
Perfect. Here's Molly.
All right, y'all. First, I'm going to thank Kat and Rod for having us. This has been so much fun hanging out with you guys, hanging out with all of you in the chat. We love, love, love to be part of any community, especially positive ones like this that are fun and growing and learning. And yeah, just know that hybrid businesses in the reselling world are great. That's what I do. And I love being able to have best of both worlds.
Perfect. Here's Libby.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm just amazed by this, by Rod, by Kat, by your knowledge and your expertise and your kindness. So thank you so much for having us. Yes, I'm talking to all of you in the chat. I would be happy to get you consignment ready. But yes, it can be a little stressful and it may not be something you want to do. So go ahead, get consignment ready. And when someone asks you to sell their items, you have your terms and you can easily say no without being a jerk. So there you have it.
Right. That's what I can be like. No, it's not $500. Sorry. Rod,
Moral of the
what's
story, don't be a jerk.
Yes. So thank you for having all these ladies on here tonight. Make sure you guys do go follow them. And everyone who says that they think it's going to be super stressful, go at your own pace. It's simple as that. Just like sourcing, if you go out and you buy a truckload of stuff, you're going to be stressed out because you got to list a truckload of stuff. So maybe go and just buy one little garbage bag full of stuff, and then you just work on that. So same thing with consignments, you know, to just go at your own pace. But for those that want to go out sourcing, I do have a new sourcing video today. I just dropped it. It's at the flea market, the largest flea market in Florida. And so one of the vendors gets items stolen. So it's a good watch. Go check it out. And I'll be dropping a new video on my Flipping and Punching channel tomorrow.
Yeah. So thank you, ladies, for being on. I definitely informative, and it's something to think about, guys. And again, it might not work for you, but it might, and you never know what's going to present itself. I am super excited. We are having 2 guests on next week. One of them hasn't been on in a couple of years. They both have been on, but it's been a while. So we are going to have Lily Works as well as Steve from Pick and Roll. And he is absolutely amazing. He's a South Florida reseller. So really excited to have those 2 on with us next week. I dropped videos on both my channels yesterday. I will also drop videos tomorrow on both my channels. I have got it where it fell on the same day again. But that makes it where I'm off a day. I did go and take Julian's advice and I edited 5 videos today. Yay. So Tuesdays are my video editing day now. So tomorrow and every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Knickknacks, I kick off the vintage jewelry raid train. I saw Christina Moonsky in there. She is the tail end of the vintage jewelry raid train. And then Sandy, My Flippin' Van Life, Peter Sy. There are sometimes different people in the middle, but from what I've seen, I start, Christina finishes it up. There she is, Moonsky Vintage. And then Friday, I have a Shop the Shed scheduled, but I think I'm going to go thrifting Friday. So I'm going to reschedule it to like Friday later at like 5 or so. And then Saturday is our sterling silver jewelry sale. That is every Saturday. And yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. Rod, thank you for coming back over and over. And we appreciate all of you coming, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.